Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of SEOs Getting Coffee. And today we are talking about a super hot topic, which is around how SEO is changing in terms of conversational search. So we used to optimize for keywords, we are used to getting traffic. Now that is not happening. Now it's all about AI overviews. It's all about how the new type of SEO is basically taking over. And we have with us the lovely Gabrio, who is the CEO of ROCK SEO, and he is very into conversational search. And we will be diving into what you need to know and how to actually swim in these new SEO waters. Gabrio, welcome to the show.
Welcome,
Thank
Gabrio.
you for the introduction, Emina. Hi, Sean. So, yes, I'm Gabrio. I have a background in organic search for about 15 years, and now I lead my company called ROCK SEO as a founder and CEO, but mostly I'm still involved day to day in strategies and dealing with clients, and that's what I enjoy doing these days, as well as conversational search, which is the topic. As a sideline, I'm also from Trieste, which is, I think, on topic here because it's the place where Illy Coffee is headquartered, which again is on topic here with the coffee. So I do have a coffee here
Oh,
with me.
fantastic.
You have a
And
good mug as well.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's very SEO. I don't know if you can see it because it's flipped, but yeah, it's an SEO
Yeah.
mug.
Yeah,
And
Gabrio,
yeah,
read it out for our listeners who are not watching. What does it
okay, it
say?
says I'm like an H1. There's only one of me, and I'm important. Organic team. This is a gift from a prior
That's
colleagues.
brilliant. I want one of those.
Yeah, I'll see if it's. I don't know where they got this one, to be honest, but I'll
good.
try to find it for you.
Brilliant. So we usually start by kind of thinking about defining things. So
Mm.
how would you define conversational search?
Yeah, good one. I think is simple terms is a new way of interacting with websites and effectively what we're gonna do on websites and how we can change content strategy. So a definition is conversational search is all about how we interact with each other, just in a simple sentence.
Oh, nice, nice. So would you say AI overviews is then conversational search? Is that what kind of like bringing it to life? Is it about AI overview, GPT search, and things like that? And does it include also chats? So GPT in general and Gemini and the rest of the lot.
Yeah, I think it's a bit bigger than that, to be honest, because what you define is essentially how we end up being found, but then the question is how we end up being there. So the question is how we tell clients and brands how to be found, how they have to change their content strategy, because most clients these days still have a Google only, as I call it, content strategy, and they expect to be found in the new tools. So like a newsflash, you can't rank there properly if you have your old search strategy content wise and you want to appear in the tools in SearchGPT and ChatGPT and company. You need to properly align things. So it's a bit, I think, a bigger conversation, aligning with business objectives with a company, seeing, hey, what do you want to achieve? What do you expect? And ultimately also diversifying from Google, because let's not forget that with updates these days, we've seen businesses being slammed and losing a lot. So I also advise try conversational to diversify. So it's a mix, Emina, to come back to your question. It's not just a matter of using the tools. And I have a strategy, again, no selling stuff here, but
No,
what I
no.
advise here is to enhance what you have already and understand where the conversations are going and what questions you want to answer for your audience, essentially.
Yeah, so it's kind of so these are AI overviews and chats. They are the channels, but the tactics are much wider.
Yeah,
And it's no longer just it changes the role of an SEO, I think. I mean, personally, I'm super happy about that because I think that's the role of SEO. It should have always been like that. So
Yeah, it's what we call the conversation-led marketing. I do have a couple of podcasts on my site for who wants to dive deeper here. Indeed, we have to shift from the more traditional keyword approach, which is being evolving eventually anyway. But I think this is more again on conversations, and I think about how to answer questions people are asking about a brand. Also, I think it's a chance of reducing the AI content, a bit of a cycle here, but let me rewind a little bit. Last year and the year prior, people went crazy with ChatGPT content, right? And they're crowded the internet with this. And now Google is patching things up, removing content and stuff. But now we have even another chance of fixing this by basically trimming content, making it more relevant for conversational search. And then, this will be a bit of a work in progress. But in my view, we have to remove content online, making it again more relevant, because we've had too much crap all over the place. Sorry for the French there. So I see opportunities there for content editors, content managers to essentially improve on this and capture this opportunity and diversify.
What's the term? The term escapes me. I forgot what it is, but it's the breakdown of the LLMs and is it modal breakdown or something of like that they learn from their own content, right? So you're getting kind of worse and worse content.
It's the loop.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the
So you
loop.
just you're in that position now. Like, and I see it now. It's like we were editing a lot of things for clients, and you're editing a lot of things even for yourself. And you can really tell when things have now been used, and you kind of look back, and even with like say 2 years of ChatGPT, you kind of look and go, oh, actually that sounds too ChatGPT now. Because at the first you think, oh, actually that sounds really good, but then everybody does it, and then you just become wise to that way of speaking, and you kind of go, yeah, we need to change this, because it's too cliche now, of like ChatGPT cliche, and I think we can all spot that. And like I said, is you get that kind of breakdown of like, well, it learned that feedback loop of it learns from itself, and then there's no information gain there, is there? There's no kind of like original thought, because it's just learning from itself, right?
Yeah, so this is for me in a way also exciting, because it's still new, and I think there's a lot of talk around this, how we do it, etc. But then few people have been doing it, so we've done something again on my site for who wants to learn more. But I think it's also exciting still for SEOs here, because there's something new to do still, without completely discounting what we've been doing so far. So I don't recommend businesses jump into conversational and do this 100%. No, that's not what I recommend. I recommend to start 30-40% with this, and then see how things get along. You can integrate socials. We can go into other direction if you want, because businesses have conversations happening in social, so you can leverage that data there, and things happening. People ask things about your brand, and use that as an input for your content strategy. People have been doing this already, but even more now. And then let's not also forget the voice search, which in my opinion is another huge one. I personally use voice much more right now. And the voice recognition, even, my accent maybe is not the most perfect one, but it's 99% accurate most of the time anyway. And it's always on point to what I need. My wife, which is not into tech like we are, she's using it all the time, so she doesn't search much anymore. This tells a lot, like on a normal user.
I think that's one of the things, is that you look at it as like thinking about technology and how it's evolved over a much larger and wider time frame. You kind of realize that actually things, they're not really that intuitive to us, in terms of the way that like searching on Google and the way we search, or the way like we type, it's not actually intuitive.
100%.
Like it's not intuitive. It's like, but the rise of say podcasts, the rise of like communications, where technology allows us to communicate with people, actually that's more intuitive as humans, to speak, to listen, and to just be watching each other's facial expressions.
100%.
So the way we search, I think, is going in that direction as well, in the sense that like you say, is that technology will allow you to kind of maybe ditch the keyboard, and maybe ditch having to type these things, when actually it's much more natural to say these things.
And you can learn a lot from. So John Mueller had a podcast recently. I can't remember. It's a new podcast.
I haven't seen it.
And he was saying, we were talking on LinkedIn about what we can learn from, like, even our kids, the way that they're using search.
Oh yeah,
Like
the newer audience. Yeah,
my daughter doesn't type, and when
there you
she
go.
does type, it's full sentences. It's not, there's no like keywords or whatever. It's a complete sentence
That's
that
so
she
interesting
uses.
what
Yeah.
you said, because one of the things which again I did, in my new planning for this thing, which again we're not selling here, of course, was showing
You're
some
very
example.
close. You're close,
I'm
Gabrio.
close. I'm showing people how new search experiences happening. For example, someone going, I have this one on the side. I live in Battersea. I'm looking for a spa experience near the tube where I can go for a walk afterwards. What do you recommend? If you try this in Google, maybe with this AI function on is better. But if you search this in ChatGPT, for instance, with search on, it's much better. It will give you exact match what you need exactly in the first or maybe the second. And it's so good for an experience perspective, this. And when we think the newer generation, the Gen Z and the younger crowd want hyper personalized experiences, I think this will really deliver. The question is, how do you get your hotel on number one on Search GPT? I think this is again what we will do next, essentially, in my opinion. And what you just said about your daughter is super interesting. I don't have a younger daughter, so I cannot tell, but
Yeah.
it's super interesting.
So yeah, I think it's like
So
older generation as well, though. Like I think I think about when I was looking at my mum, kind of searching. She was looking for a 2-bedroomed property to rent, but she's not going to like the property sites. She's just going into Google, and she's typing in like a long sentence of like
Yeah,
what she
yeah,
wants.
yeah.
But it's like, which is completely different to say what I would search. I'd actually probably go to one of these trusted sites anyway and use them. But if I was searching, I'd probably just put 2-bedroom flat.
Yeah, much more
Location, right?
focus. But because you
Yeah,
are SEO behind the
yeah, and
scenes,
that's
right?
it. You
yeah,
know
I
That's
it.
how
think
it,
we are a little bit in a
Yeah,
bubble.
yeah,
The
that's
way
yeah,
true.
that we search isn't how normal
yeah, totally.
people search,
100%.
even like from even from before. I don't
Yeah,
think any of us searched normally for a very, very long time.
yeah,
Yeah.
But coming back to Gabriel, what you were saying, obviously you you have been thinking about this and looking into strategies, and I'm not a believer that anybody
Mm,
has the answers. I mean, the technology is changing so
mm,
fast,
mm.
but what have you played around with? Are there any tips that you can share with us for companies looking to get into conversational search and get into chats? How can they feature themselves?
Yeah, good question. Well, I would say technically the basics still remain, and even more so would be, your structured data, everything tightly organized there. And one tip would be FAQs. In the FAQs, you have more, a more bigger chance there to flesh out questions. So I would start there. If I had to advise a business, see, if you get extra traffic, and make it nice, in terms of questions there, tag it properly, and then start seeing if you get some traction. Check your GSC data, and then you can expand on some queries. This will be at a very, very simple level. And then if you
Just
want to
be careful with the structured
uh
data, because the bots, the
mm,
chat bots, only Gemini can actually crawl JavaScript files according to recent research. So if your structured data isn't loading in the main HTML, it's not gonna really help. And
okay, thank you for that bit.
that's a really interesting one that came out recently, because I thought structured data
Mm,
logically would be really useful, considering that LLMs are now at, you know, the chatbots are at the start of the journey.
data
Um,
feeders, yeah, right.
yeah, exactly. However, it came out that actually only Gemini is, because it uses the Google architecture to do the
Okay.
crawling.
But
Uh,
still in the content, they will still crawl the content on the site still. So other than the structured data. So, but because we did some experiments, on my site, I have a bit of experiment there, and then two of my clients, and we've seen already an increase in traffic. So I have 2 case studies there already, still early days, just to show someone, hey, this works, can work. So I had one client had a 42% increase in blog impressions just from November. That when when it was implemented to now, and their sales went up also 10%, which was pretty nice. I know not huge numbers, but some improvement. And
it's brilliant. Yeah, it's good results.
And we'll take it more from there. But yeah, I think then again, look at the content, what you can do on the content. And in terms of the AI solutions, the word of yours, your oyster there, because there's so many, whether you're into e-com or you want just conversational queries, you want to improve dwell time, or you want to again have more feedback from your customers. So I don't work with one solution. I work with a couple of different platforms / partners, and I advise based on what I think is best for them. So it's very dynamic there.
Gabrio, what are some of the common mistakes that you've seen that businesses will make, when they're trying to implement, kind of optimizations towards conversational search? Are there some kind of obvious and kind of common mistakes that you see people make?
That's another really good question. I think the expectation will be, it's a bit not a mistake, but more of the ROI expectation, where they go, hey, we invest X in mine or other strategies, let's say no selling again, and they will have already an expectation of ROI immediately. And I know everything is ROI now. Businesses are so careful now, even with the tiniest expense these days. But I think that's a bit of mistake where they have that expectation where something so new will have an immediate impact. So we try to give a ROI return figure, but I still say it's early days, so you can't expect too much. It's more diversify. How do you protect yourself? How much would it cost you if you lose everything due to an update instead? So I kind of try to reframe it in another way, because it's true. Like if you literally lost all your ranking, like your traffic from Google, how much will that cost you? So wouldn't it be worth it? So I think that's a bit of a mistake. And then other than that, there's a bit of a skepticism still, because it's still very new. So I didn't see heavy investments just yet. And so it's still, having calls, telling about this and putting out content. That's why I have so much content out there on this. And again, still early days. So not much on this I can say other than this.
Yeah. Do you find, so one of the things that to me seems very imminent and very true is looking at the impact of conversational search or AI overviews, whichever way whichever term you use.
That thing.
Yeah, that thing. It's obvious that click-through rates are down because of the fact that people are coming in, getting their answers right into the chat or into before the links
come to you. Yeah,
exactly. They don't really go to the website. They just get their answers then and there. Now, for informational search, a lot of informational search is already taken by search features, generative search features. But then you have this commercial side of things that happens quite a lot if you're using ChatGPT, like you were saying, to get recommendations of brands or products and stuff like that.
or book out something. Yeah,
exactly. So it's kind of this branding side of things. To me, it seems like there's two things there. One of them is getting your brand in when it comes to commercial and transactional search, conversational searches. And then there's this other side of things, which is the informational kind of side of things. Are there different strategies involved? And when you say diversify, because it doesn't seem like it's diversify in terms of let's get you into the AI overviews. It's more like you can't rely on Google anymore to get you the traffic.
Yeah. I think there's one more thing to throw into the mix, and it's not a simple answer what you ask, by the way. I think it's the education also, because we have two things at play right now. We have on the one hand the clients. We have to convince them you have to do this, like spend some budget into this. And then we have the customers, people searching, like your mom or my wife searching for something, which I think they don't know just yet that they can use these new tools. So these are, I think, challenges that, for instance, a brand will have. So if you do this, if you have a vision to invest in this, you should, in my opinion, mention this on your site or on your socials. Hey, you can interact conversationally with our chatbot or with our whatever X solution you have. That way you educate customers. And I think over time, people will use this much more. One of our clients, we put the bubble for the Copilot, and we have now a little blurb saying, interact with us, ask me anything, something like that. So this is still early because people don't know these things. So, but your question was more, how do we get into informational type of searches and transactional?
Commercial? What are kind of like, if you look at informational and transactional searches, in my mind, where you want to get to is the transactional ones more than ever. Because
and I cannot reveal everything here, of course, because I have my strategy here. Otherwise, what's the
you gotta
strategy
give us
for?
the tips, though. You
Yeah,
gotta give us the tips.
but
That's what you signed up for.
the principle, the simple one is, listen to what your customer wants, answer questions, come for the answers and give them in your content strategy. So that's what you have to focus to capture those informational searches. And then for the transactional searches, that's a bit of a bigger exercise there because it requires more planning and, understanding goals and objectives. And, it's more of I would say, an old school strategy with a new twist, if that makes sense.
It's branding.
So that's what it is effectively. So you need to think about that, or how are you gonna change the content you have on the site. So I don't have a straight answer for that, to be perfectly honest, because I do this on a bespoke basis. So, but it's more of, how do you answer those questions and capturing those the search intent, studying, also learning what other brands are doing. One simple tip will be, go on Search GPT, start thinking what your customers will search, do some surveys, maybe send a couple of emails, give them a gift. If you have, let's say, a hotel, give them a one-night stay for free, something in exchange for some information from your audience. Ask them, how would you search this? We're launching something new, and study a little bit. That's what I will do. Then go on Search GPT, start searching. If you have a content team, do this for a week, do some searches, make a case study, and then go to your marketing director. Hey, we searched for our competitors. They came up in Search GPT. We don't. What should we do? And then take it from there. That will be the simple exercise. And then you can study a website of a competitor. Maybe they have a better structure. Maybe it's something different. Again, everybody will have their own ways of doing this. And some brands will have a strong presence in social. I think that's also very important. Or videos, something else. You can extract those questions or understand how people interact with your brand elsewhere. And then becomes a bit of I don't want to say a game, but it's also more of an interactive exercise there. And as you said, this is changing over time, so we have to play with it. I personally did some experiments. For instance, on chat, you can even go, hey, I want to buy a new phone. I want to spend this much, not too old phone. What do you recommend? Browse me Amazon. He will do it. People said that it doesn't give you links for e-coms. That's not true. It does. And then you have a phone, already a list of phones for the budget you wanted, whatever you ask him exactly. So the question is, how do you get PC World and Carries there when you search buy a new phone? And PC World and Carries will pay money if you tell them how to be there. Trust me.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think one of the things that
no affiliation with PC Words and Carries here, but
one of the things that's really interesting is, it's this kind of idea of brand. I mean, I don't know why people are so surprised. Brand is coming into brand should have always been in SEO. It's been in SEO.
It kind of always has been. It's always been like we talk about authority, site authority, blah, 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 like domain authority. All that means is that it's a recognizable brand.
It's positioning, but it's also positioning now with conversational search. One of the things that I think is a positive thing is that it's going to push businesses to actually become brands, because many businesses are not brands, and part of the reason why they're not brands is because their messaging is all over the place. So the reason why you might not end up being shown in some of these searches is very complex, but it also has to do with how you have positioned yourself in the market.
Perception,
the perception of your brand in the market. So I'm now playing around with one of the things that I want to do is hook up to the Reddit API and do kind of a Python script that does a bit of a sentiment analysis on certain subreddits, just to understand for our clients what is the sentiment out there, what are people talking about, and how are they feeling about the brand. And that really then helps you position yourself into what you want to be as a brand.
Yep. That's
And
a great point. Great point.
that is then that's how you get the success as well. On a very small level, what you can do, as you were saying, Google Search Console, if you're big enough, will show you anything that's connected to your brand in terms of searches, like long tail searches connected to your brand. Do some data crunching there. See how your brand is seen. What are users thinking about your brand, and then see if that's what you want them to think.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is that like those kind of things, and this is where we have to obviously make that distinction, I think, as well, though, is that because I think it's, that's great for enterprise businesses, and that's great for or existing brands, like it's existing businesses that have that amount of traffic. I feel really bad for the businesses
guys,
that are smaller, and they're like, well, like take our company, Vixen Digital. No one's searching Vixen Digital long tail stuff, so you've got like
as I said, you have to have the data.
Yeah. But that's what I mean, is that like it kind of creates that gap, and I think that's where it is like this kind of like, oh, just build a brand type of thing. I think that's where it gets like, I think a lot of people, have a distaste to that a little bit,
sorry, it just broke the fantastic mug. I was playing with it.
No.
Live on camera, guys. This is also real life. No editing here. No.
Yeah.
That's a break.
Still usable.
It's a broken link, that is, unfortunately, Gabriel.
Oh my gosh, this was amazing. At least you get the crown here.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, Sean, and it is obviously it is a concern.
It makes that gap wider, I guess. It makes
I'm a little bit more positive about it, because even if you are not a brand, you work in an industry where there are brands. And you can learn by doing a proper competitor analysis. And you will have to invest. I mean, this is the other thing. These brands didn't get to where they are without investing into their
I think that's true. I think, the truth is that you have to start somewhere, and then, you've got the little guys, and they, if they're in it for the long haul, like
exactly,
they will become a brand. It's like you will become that one day if you keep going. And I think there's obviously too many people that want that kind of, quick fix, quick win, quick fix, and they want that kind of right, we made it, like 2 years, we made it, and whatever.
A small
it doesn't work like that.
Segue here. So first of all, I love the Reddit angle. That's great. Actually, I forgot to mention that, because that's where you can also find conversations, in fact. And for smaller brands, I think one way or another, there will be something someone is saying about you. For example, how about Google reviews? You could find something that someone is saying about you. I mean, you'll have one review, at least at minimum, hopefully a good one. And then you can expand on that. It will give you maybe some pointer that someone said, hey, I did this X project, this audit. It was something, you can, again, if you have no data.
Exactly. And now you have to do that. That's the thing. Now, even smaller brands, there's no quick fixes. I'm hoping that I will never again be asked to just sprinkle some SEO on a piece of content. I mean, it's not something that
was a thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I'm mindful of time as well. I could sit here talking forever about this.
That's every episode we could sit here and talk.
It's
But tell me more about this Reddit API. Is this something you built, or is it like available?
It's available. We can have a chat about it if you'd like.
And lovely conversations on Reddit. Sometimes I dabble on the SEO subreddit. I even answer, because there was someone, really two things really upset me so much when I see people really saying, hey, there are no honest SEO companies. So I picked one question. I answer it for this person, no names, on my YouTube channel, if someone wants to see my answer, where this person was really, in disbelief of how bad a certain thing was, and therefore was generalizing there are no honest SEO companies. So I'm giving some ideas to other SEOs here. On Reddit, you have so many questions in the SEO subreddit. You could pick up questions, answer them, then everybody will do what I do. But you can answer them on your own channel and have so many conversations again there. So there are some questions which were so good, better than what comes on LinkedIn, I have to be honest.
LinkedIn. Let's not start with LinkedIn.
Yeah, okay, another broken platform-ish. Although I still love LinkedIn, but it's getting worse, let's be honest.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Gabrio. We've had some good tips here.
Yeah, let's do room 404. I'm excited to hear what Gabrio
cool.
put into room 404.
So room 404 is a segment that we do each time, and we invite our guests to banish something that annoyed them into room 404. Technically, it should really be room 410. You can banish whatever you'd like,
Emina,
Gabrio.
look, everything's got an opportunity for redemption, you see. We're willing to forgive things. Even GA4, you know. I'm willing to forgive GA4.
I have one. So
go ahead, Gabrio.
Even though I'm involved in this conversational, which has so much elements of AI and that jazz, as you guys say in the UK, if I remember, I would like to banish using AI for job applications from both sides, because this is really bad. Actually, I wrote on LinkedIn the other day about it, where someone was saying, hey, you can apply for so many jobs by using AI and this and that. At both sides, from a candidate's perspective and a recruiting perspective, is not doing anything good. It has to stop. Please bring back old school, normal applications. I know there's a lot of folks out there looking for work, but please don't use this to spam recruiters.
Yeah, I think I've seen the video that you talk about, and somebody is basically using a bot to apply.
Yeah, that's something. That one, yeah.
Loads and loads of job applications,
like an agent. Are they using like
with a tool, not like a bot. Worse.
I also the browser library one. I'm using it for a few things.
I also saw somebody that was actually conducting an interview using AI.
Oh, cool.
So they were
a while back. I saw that one.
Yeah, so they were being filmed, and they were basically just had another screen, and they were just kind of having it. I think it was transcribing, and then they give it the answers to say, and then they'd just read it and then say it in the interview as well. So
and I think these things, I mean, I don't want to say we have to fix this, because this is getting wilder and wilder, but things which are not right are happening in general, and this is, I think, a bad development of the AI space, in my opinion.
True, but then if you were hiring for somebody who you want to, you want the skills that they have to kind of go, right, I want somebody to help develop this, you think, actually, they've done their whole interview
in AI.
Maybe they're a good candidate.
They will hire the AI directly then. Why would you hire a person then?
No, I agree. I think don't get me started. I'm doing a talk on responsible AI as well. And it's not just that it's so bad for business, it's just so bad for the planet and for the world that we live in. And don't get me started. Anyway, off to room 404 with job applications.
AI job applications.
Gabrio, thank you so much. Where can people find you? I know obviously you've mentioned that you've got some things on your website, but on socials and things, can people find you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn at Gabrio Linari, and then we have also a brand new YouTube channel. A bit of a fun experiment is at ROCK SEO. Whoever wants to give us a follow, and
and that's ROCK SEO, ROCK SEO, right?
Yes, that's right. Brilliant. Like the name of my company. Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah,
brilliant.
Just for
thank you so much, guys.
It in. Thanks so much for coming.
You.
I'm really sorry about your mug.
It's okay. I'll glue it back. No problem. It's still here.
God, I can't believe that.
This is live stuff, guys.
This is it. It's definitely live, and this is the first time we've had a broken mug on an episode.
So you should use this on the thumbnail, maybe.
Yeah. A broken mug.
Great episode. Thank you so much, Gabrio. Thanks for coming, and hopefully we'll have you back another time. Thanks, everybody.
That's great.
Thank you, guys. Don't forget, Sean. Don't forget, we are marketers, so we have to have if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and listen to us on Spotify, and download and engage with us, and absolutely love us, and the whole like marketing spiel.
All that good stuff.
Yeah,
all that good stuff. Fantastic. Right.
Excellent.
Thanks everyone.
Thank
great for you to
bye guys,
and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
See you later.